Most people ignore these early signs of burnout. Burnout rarely announces itself with a dramatic collapse. It doesn't usually start with waking up one morning unable to get out of bed or suddenly hating everything you once cared about. Instead, it begins quietly, woven into ordinary days, disguised as stress, responsibility, or just a busy phase. Because it develops gradually, many people normalize its earliest signals and push straight through them, unaware that their nervous system is already operating in survival mode. One of the first changes often appears in energy, but not in the obvious way people expect. Instead of feeling physically exhausted all the time, you may notice that rest no longer restores you. Sleep happens, but it doesn't feel deep. Weekends arrive, yet Monday still feels just as heavy. This isn't laziness or poor motivation. It reflects subtle dysregulation in the stress response system. Chronic demands keep cortisol levels elevated, interfering with the brain's ability to fully shift into recovery states. Over time, this blunts the natural rhythm between effort and rest that keeps the body resilient. Cognitive changes often follow. Tasks that once felt manageable begin to require more effort. Concentration fragments more easily, and decision-making feels strangely taxing, even for simple choices. Neuroscientifically, prolonged stress alters activity in the prefrontal cortex, the area responsible for focus, planning, and emotional regulation. At the same time, the brain's threat detection systems become more active, pulling attention toward potential problems rather than solutions. The result is a mind that feels busy but unproductive, alert but unfocused. Emotionally, early burnout can masquerade as subtle detachment. You may notice a flattening of emotional responses, not only to work, but to things that once brought satisfaction. Conversations feel more draining. Small requests feel disproportionately irritating. This emotional blunting isn't a lack of empathy or care, it's a protective response. When emotional demands consistently exceed available resources, the brain reduces sensitivity to avoid overload. Unfortunately, this also reduces access to positive emotions, creating a sense of numbness that many people mistake for maturity or resilience. The body often communicates these changes before the mind fully acknowledges them. Minor physical symptoms start to cluster: frequent headaches, jaw tension, digestive discomfort, unexplained muscle aches. These aren't random. Stress alters gut motility, increases muscle guarding, and heightens inflammatory signaling throughout the body. The immune system may also become less efficient, leading to more frequent colds or slower recovery from illness. Each symptom alone seems insignificant, easy to dismiss, but together they form a pattern of a system under sustained strain. Behavior subtly shifts as well. Procrastination increases, not from lack of discipline, but from cognitive overload. You may find yourself scrolling longer, snacking without hunger, or reaching for caffeine more often just to feel functional. These behaviors provide brief relief by stimulating dopamine or adrenaline, but they also mask the underlying depletion. Because productivity still happens, even if it feels harder, the warning signs are easy to rationalize away. Socially, burnout often begins with withdrawal that feels practical rather than emotional. You cancel plans because you're tired or behind on things. You respond more slowly to messages. Alone time becomes less restorative and more isolating. This isn't because you dislike people, but because social interaction requires energy that already feels scarce. Over time, reduced social connection removes one of the strongest buffers against stress, allowing burnout to deepen quietly. Perhaps the most overlooked early sign is a change in how effort feels internally. You're still capable, still responsible, still showing up, but everything feels heavier than it should. Tasks take more willpower. Motivation becomes forced instead of natural. This shift reflects a nervous system that has been leaning on stress hormones for too long, using urgency to replace sustainable energy. At this stage, many people push harder, believing the solution is better time management or more discipline, not realizing that the system generating effort is already overextended. These early signs don't mean something is wrong with you. They mean something has been wrong with the balance between demand and recovery for longer than your body can quietly compensate for. And when those signals are ignored, the system doesn't fail suddenly. It adapts further in ways that make burnout harder to reverse.